You are listening to Skin, Earth, Vitality, the podcast where ancient wisdom meets modern vitality. If you are seeking to reconnect with your innate vibrancy, you're in the right place. I'm Emily Davis, a seasoned holistic esthetician and herbalist. Join me as we unlock the secrets of ancient skincare practices, explore the beauty of seasonal and nature-based living, herbalism, and true holistic well-being for you and the broader ecosystem. This podcast is brought to you by Stratum Aesthetics. Head to stratumaesthetics.com to find curated skincare, body care, and other wellness products hand-selected by me. Now enjoy the show. The title of this episode is Skin Minimalism Edition by Subtraction. And as I was trying to think about what I wanted to talk about this week, I was on TikTok watching Kylie Perkins talk about minimalism and how it can actually support mental health. And I was like, yeah, it's so true. And I was thinking about just like decluttering spaces and all of the products and how I really love minimalism in my skincare that I've adopted over the last 5 years. And I was like, that would make a good episode topic. And then I was like, okay, I'll put that on the back burner, but I wanted to just pop into my Notion document that I keep and I just write down podcast and content ideas as they come to me. Usually as I'm like walking or listening to a totally unrelated book or podcast, I'll get an idea and then, like relate it back to skin. And I've got this list going. And so I opened it up, and at the top of the list, which I haven't looked at for quite a while, was the phrase addition by subtraction. And I must have been listening to some podcast or some point that used that term. And I was like, yes, this totally applies to my skin philosophy. And after seeing that in the Notion document, I was like, okay, that's what we for sure have to talk about this week. Because sometimes the best thing that you can do for your skin is to take something away, not add in another step or another protocol, because we do live in a world that's always telling us that more is better. And luckily, minimalism, I think, is having a real moment right now. But skin minimalism is about tuning in and simplifying and just making smarter and more intentional choices. It's not about doing nothing. It's really just about doing what actually supports your skin. And getting into this is just so festive right now. Spring feels so fresh. There's a lightness in the air. I've been moving through some major overhauls and simplifications in so many areas of my life. And I'm guessing that's true for you as well. And I've just been feeling like this simplification has not felt like restraint in any way. It's felt like so liberating. And I think that we can move that energy into our skincare as well. And just a reminder, this episode is brought to you by Stratum Aesthetics, where I vet the most beautiful, intentional products for your rituals. And today I wanted to highlight the Live Botanicals Nourishing Cleansing Oil. And this is so not your average cleanser. It's a thoughtfully crafted blend of whole plant infusions and nutrient-rich oils that gently cleanse the skin without stripping the barrier. And one of the things that I really appreciate about the Live Botanicals Nourishing Cleansing Oil is that it's completely free of essential oils, but it still has the most beautiful, soft fragrance. And that's because it's infused with a whole bouquet of skin-supportive herbs, including lemon balm, lavender, chamomile, self-heal, and rose. And these aren't put in there just for the scent. They're functional, calming herbs that offer anti-inflammatory and antioxidant and supportive properties. So lemon balm is going to be gently brightening but very soothing to reactive skin. Lavender, chamomile, and rose are all very cooling and calming to the skin. Lavender and lemon balm are both highly cleansing, making this fantastic for acne-prone skin, which I know can sound kind of crazy, an oil cleanser for acne-prone skin, but I love this one for that specifically. Self-Heal is a beautiful lymphatic tonic. It's a totally underrated plant. It's going to really help to support repair and resilience. And then the oil base is just as intentional. So we have meadow foam seed oil. Oh my God, I love this one. So good for a oil cleanser because it actually has properties that kind of help to teach the skin to not overproduce oil, which makes it an amazing ally for combination or oily skin types, especially if you're trying to break the cycle of stripping your skin and then overcompensating. This is a perfect cleanser for reducing clogged pores while also improving elasticity. It has really beautiful quote unquote anti-aging benefits as well, highly antioxidant. And then we have pumpkin seed oil, which is rich in zinc and vitamin E and essential fatty acids. So it's really going to help strengthen that skin barrier, but also support healthy skin cell turnover. So you can pick up the Live Botanicals Nourishing Cleansing Oil on stratumaesthetics.com. This is perfect if you're exploring skin minimalism and looking for a cleanser that truly honors your skin's natural rhythm. So over the years, I have felt more and more excited about minimalism across many different areas of my life. I was working with a business coach a while back who would always say simplicity is luxury. And oof, isn't that just so good? It feels so calming to my nervous system just saying it. And I've taken that and really tried to embody it. I used to offer like 15 different services in my business. I would do brow waxing and lash lifts and spray tans and all the things before I really pared down to just holistic facials. And now I only have 3 services listed on my menu. I've pared things down that I own. I've gotten rid of digital clutter on my phone, on my computer. I talked a lot about all of this in the Fall Shed episode, which was episode 40, called The Art of Letting Go and Decluttering, back from November 2024. I loved that episode so much. And it's actually a great episode to listen to this time of the year also, as I've been going through it again, shedding what no longer aligns. And I love content that talks about minimalism. The Minimalist podcast is one that I love. And what I've learned, I used to think that minimalism was like sterile white spaces with nothing in them, like very sad, everything very utilitarian and scarce, and like you're depriving yourself of the color and the juice of life. But I've really come to see that it's not less for the sake of less. It's less in order to create space. And rather than living in scarcity, minimalism creates the conditions for abundance. And these do kind of sound like opposites. One says less and the other says more, but the more you look at it, minimalism really isn't about restriction. It's about more like refinement, and it's about making that space, like I said. And space is more so where abundance lives. So minimalism at its heart is like an act of devotion. That's what we're doing with the skin in this episode. We're not just giving up, we're really tuning in. And think about it, a room with just a few well-loved, meaningful items can feel so luxurious, or a meal with just like simple quality ingredients can feel so nourishing. And that energy we can sometimes find ourselves in, like constantly adding, buying more, layering more, doing more, skincare hauls, clothing hauls, Amazon hauls. That's actually scarcity disguised as abundance. when we're not trusting that what we already have is enough, we're just always grasping. Maybe this product is finally what's going to fix my skin. I just need one more serum, one more protocol. I need to buy this one thing from Amazon and then I'm going to feel at peace or whole or whatever it is. And I can talk about this so well because I have been there so many times. I'm sure I'll be there again, but I'm really working on not being in that headspace because energetically that's coming from a place of lack. We become very energetically fragmented. Our focus is scattered. We're losing clarity, and paring down really brings in that coherence. It invites the nervous system to settle because when we're sitting in that scarcity, grasping, we're really disconnected from our body and our intuition, and we outsource our authority to influencers or marketing. We just want someone to tell us what to do. And as a part of this whole lifestyle shift for me, it's been a lot of blocking that noise out and just like refining who I'm following online, what podcasts I'm subscribed to. I try not to get on TikTok a whole lot because I find that I get into that energy a lot on that app for whatever reason. So it's been a whole thing and it feels so much more peaceful. And so that brings us to the skin. And what the heck is skin minimalism? So I would say skin minimalism is not like a rigid set of rules. It's more of a philosophy. I think about it as like a rebellion against the idea that more is better. Skin minimalism, or skinimalism, if you will, is not about having the least amount of skincare products possible. It's just more about simplifying your skincare routine to include only what's truly supportive to your skin's health and rhythm, and focusing on fewer but higher quality products used with consistency and with lots of intention. It's about creating space for the skin to do what it's innately designed to do. So it honors less products, less reaction really, but more observation of the skin, and less pressure on you, but more trust in our body's natural intelligence. And the heartbeat of the way I like to work with skin is the health of each skin cell, the mitochondria, which are the sensors of the cellular environment driving repair and renewal. Also, the communication between systems like our nervous system and our lymphatic system and the microbiome and the skin barrier. Also, the emotional state of the person, the energetics of nourishment, so not just products, but also rest, breath, intention, focusing on less interfering, clearing out the noise so that the skin can do what it's biologically designed to do. And so all of this really lends itself to skin minimalism. And if you're feeling called towards this and you have a really complicated skincare life right now, things that you can do to lean in here is first audit your current routine. So what am I using? Is it because I truly love it? Or what am I using that's out of hype? After auditing, go in and identify your essentials. Generally, a gentle cleanser, a nourishing mist or hydrosol, a barrier supportive oil or balm are going to be the real foundations. And when you're using fewer products, it's worth choosing ones that really deliver. So this might mean investing in higher quality formulas. So once you've pared it down, pause the actives. If your skin is reactive or inflamed or feeling off, maybe take a break from exfoliants or strong acids or additional serums. Give your skin a few weeks to recalibrate and see how it goes. This is like a skincare version of a reset cleanse, and the spring is a great time to do this. And then finally, add in a sacred ritual, because minimalism does not mean lifeless or cold or less pleasure, less beauty. In a minimalist skincare ritual, every step actually becomes amplified. And when you remove all of the excess, ritual gets to fill that space. So maybe this looks like incorporating a really juicy face massage as you apply your oil or your balm. Or maybe it means that you're taking time for an indulgent face steam or a really nice face mask once a week, adding in these kinds of practices with reverence and slowness and presence. That's skin minimalism. It's kind of like the difference between eating one perfectly sun-ripened homegrown tomato or a juicy peach during peach season, just slowly and with presence, versus rushing through a plate of 10 things and tasting nothing. And yet, I do want to speak to another version of minimalism that I often encounter, one that doesn't feel quite so juicy and one that's maybe a little less intentional. And that's when I will have a client come in and say something like, oh, my skin is a mess. It's old. I don't do anything. I just use water, or I just use some random drugstore lotion whenever I remember. And they say it like they've failed somehow. And here's what I see underneath of that. It's not that they don't care, but I do think that there may be some subconscious belief that you don't deserve care, maybe super overwhelmed or disconnected or burnt out or turned off by beauty culture, or often maybe never felt welcome by beauty culture to begin with. And the thing is, that's definitely not what I mean when I'm saying skin minimalism. Skin minimalism is not about giving up. It's about coming back. And so if this is you and you just don't even know where to start, I would invite you to maybe just begin with a hydrosol and an oil, just 2 things, and notice how lovely it feels to mist and apply a skin oil after. This is very minimalist, but it's also highly intentional and just a beautiful message to yourself. And you may be wondering, well, if the skin's just so intelligent and so self-regulating, why apply anything at all? Why not just let it do its thing? And the truth is, our skin is incredibly capable. It knows how to protect and renew and communicate. It was designed to interact with the elements and to find balance on its own, but we're not living in the same conditions that our skin evolved in. And today we spend so much more time indoors. Our days are dark and our nights are bright, unfortunately. And we're exposed to dry, recirculated air, long, hot showers, a lot more stress, and just so much stimulation, both environmentally and emotionally. And all of this impacts the skin's ability to stay balanced. So skincare, when it's done with intention, isn't about controlling the skin. It's more about supporting it. And I'm a big fan of meeting your skin where it is and offering hydration and protection and presence in a world that is pretty dysregulating. And in systems like Ayurveda, for example, applying oil to the body, Abhyanga, isn't about fixing dryness or fixing clogged pores. It's really about nourishment and ritual and nervous system support. It's just this beautiful form of love and grounding, reestablishing the connection between the body and the self. So when we apply oil or balm and a mist to our face, we're not just doing skincare, we're really participating in this long lineage of care. We're saying my skin is worthy of nourishment, not because it's broken, but because it's so precious. And this actually isn't just a human trait. Elephants know that skin needs care. They bathe in mud to soothe and protect. So that's kind of their version of barrier repair. Or pigs roll in mud for similar reasons, to cool their body and protect the skin from sun and soothe irritation. Some primates and bears rub their skin with leaves and sap and even bugs like citronella ants to protect themselves from insects and to soothe irritation. And so this has been observed as a form of topical plant medicine. It's like animal herbalism. Cats groom themselves constantly, not just for cleanliness, but for regulation, because licking their fur helps them with heat regulation and calming and wound healing. So when we're applying skincare, we're not doing something unnatural or vain. It's the most natural thing in the world. So with that said, skin minimalism, again, is not a dogma. It's like I said before, it's a philosophy, it's a tool. And like any tool, it's not always the right one for the moment. In the moment of a chronic skin condition, this might not be the right place for it. I was watching a story of a person who I follow on Instagram. Gosh, I must be on social media a lot. I'm talking about it in this episode quite a bit, but I was following somebody on Instagram and she had a skin injury as the result of a professional treatment. It was basically like a chemical burn that resulted in post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. And so she had a really complex protocol that she was following with many different products to heal and reduce excess pigment. And so most of the time, I do think that the best way to skin healing is to pare down. I often will recommend this for somebody with perioral dermatitis for sure, sometimes with acne. But for some skin situations, an intentional protocol might be really helpful. But you want to still root it in the spirit of skin minimalism. So intentional, no overwhelm, just temporarily more input to stabilize the system. And then another time that I don't know if it's the best is with clients who are just totally lost. Minimalism can feel more like a void. So if you don't know what your skin needs or how to care for it, going minimalist without the guidance can create confusion or neglect. And I think this is where sometimes people end up like, I don't know, I just use body lotion on my face sometimes when I remember. And so in these cases, curated skincare can help build a really supportive foundation, and that might or might not feel like skin minimalism. Most of the time, I think it's pretty appropriate, and I have found great success with it with my clients and also my own skin as well, because it's ultimately inviting you to trust that your skin doesn't need to be micromanaged. And with that being said, lifestyle, as I've said many, many times before, is your foundation. So lifestyle is also a part of skin minimalism. And if you're interested in supporting the foundational lifestyle habits, my program, Reclaim Your Radiance, is coming back next month. So head to the link in the show notes to get on the waiting list for that. If this episode stirred something in you, if you're craving less clutter, more clarity, or just a deeper connection with your skin, please follow that feeling. Skin minimalism is not about doing less for the sake of it. It's about doing less with intention so that every step feels like it matters. As always, thank you for being here. If you found something in this episode helpful, I would love if you would share with someone who might need to hear it. And if you want to go deeper into skin and seasonal rhythm, make sure you're on my email list or following me on Instagram. Take care. I'll be back next week. And until then, be well. You've been listening to Skin, Earth, Vitality. If you like what you heard today, consider giving me a 5-star rating. It helps other people just like you to find the show. You can shop products and find all of my offerings on my website, stratumaesthetics.com, and follow me on my social channels @stratumaesthetics.